welcome to my channel. Today's class is a full body stretch to help unwind, relax, and relieve stress. So for this class, all you need is your mat, but if you do have props and you want to use them, please feel free to do so. So we're just going to get started right away here, and we're going to start in our opening Shavasana. So just coming onto our backs for the first few moments of class, just taking time to arrive on our mat, to become present, grounding down and becoming center, beginning to lengthen and deepen the breath, allowing the feet to fall open how they naturally fall. Palms can be to the earth for grounding or the sky for energy. And just take a moment here to notice how we're feeling. Notice any emotions, any stresses, any distracting thoughts. And then allow yourself to let that go. Giving yourself this opportunity to be here and to be present for this class. Knowing that for the duration of this class, there's nowhere to be, there's nothing to do besides working on our breath and work on our movement. Just really dedicating this time to yourself, to self-love, self-care. Just beginning to soften the face, unclench the jaw, and allow the tongue to fall from the roof of the mouth. Beginning to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And just take a moment here to scan throughout the body. So starting at the crown of the head and work your way towards the toes. And just take a moment to make a mental note of any areas throughout the body that may feel tight or tense. And just keep this into your awareness throughout your practice. To have patience with these areas of our body. To use our modifications where we need them. And honor your body with this practice. So never pushing yourself to a point of pain. It's okay to feel a little uncomfortable in our poses, but we never want to feel pain. So if we do feel pain in any of these poses throughout our class, please take a minute to come out, find a child's pose, or find a modification. So we're going to take 5 more deep belly breaths here in our Shavasana. Just focusing on the breath, inhaling to the count of 4. Pause. And exhale to the count of 4. Continuing for 4 more deep belly breaths. Just really making that connection with our breath, as it is one of the most important tools in yoga. We move with the breath. We lengthen with the breath. And we create space with our breath. Taking one last inhale. And exhale. Beginning to bring some movement back into the body, nice and slow. We'll wiggle our fingers and wiggle our toes. Rotate wrists and ankles. Gently and mindfully rock your head side to side. and come back to center. With our next inhale, we're going to inhale, the arms are overhead, point the toes in the opposite direction. Find a nice full body stretch. And as we exhale, we're going to move both the hands and feet over to the right side. So making the shape of a banana. So this is called Banana Asana. So we can grab that left wrist with the right hand or grab opposite elbows. And if we wanted to go a little deeper, cross the left ankle over the right. And we'll find 3 deep belly breaths. Really breathing into that left side body, feeling the space opening between the ribs. Taking a nice deep inhale. And exhale, come back to center. So we're going to inhale, lengthen, stretching the hands and feet in opposite directions. And as we exhale, move the hands and feet over to the left side. So making that banana shape on the opposite side of the body. So again, we can grab that right wrist with the left hand, giving it a gentle pull, or we can grab opposite elbows. Option here to cross that right ankle over the left and take 3 deep belly breaths. Breathing into that right side body, finding a nice deep stretch. Inhaling. And exhale, release, come back to center. And we'll release the arms down by the sides. With our next breath in, we're going to bring that right knee into the chest for our wind reliever pose. So bringing the knee right to the center of our chest, we're keeping both feet flexed and just noticing how this feels for the lower back. So if we are experiencing any pinching or pulling, we could plant that left foot onto the mat just to relieve that sensation. So from here, we're going to begin to rotate the right ankle in one direction in nice big circles. And then we'll rotate in the opposite direction. We're going to find center, flex the toes towards the face, and begin to rock the knee to the right side on an inhale. And exhale, bring it back to center. We're going to inhale to open that right knee out to the right side, and exhale back to center. Inhale to open, and exhale center. So from here, we're going to bring our hands behind that right thigh. We'll inhale with our knee bent, and as we exhale, begin to extend that right heel towards the ceiling, flexing the toes towards the face. So just lengthening the back of the right leg for a nice hamstring stretch. So if this does feel a little intense, just keep a generous bend into that right knee as we work on lengthening that muscle throughout our practice. Closing down the eyes here, we're going to find 5 deep belly breaths. Last inhale. And exhale, we'll release that right foot down to meet the left. With our next inhale, left knee comes into the chest for that wind reliever pose. So both feet are flexing here. And again, just noticing how the lower back is feeling. If there is any pinching or pulling, just remember we can plant that right foot onto the mat to relieve the sensation. And we'll begin to rotate that left ankle, nice big circles in one direction. Noticing any creaks, any pops within the joints. And we'll rotate in the opposite direction. We'll find center and begin to find that movement in the left hip. So as we inhale, we're going to open the left knee out to the left side, and exhale, come back to center. Inhale to open, and exhale back to center. Last one, we'll inhale to open, exhale back to center. Bring your hands behind that left thigh. We'll inhale with the knee bent, and as we exhale, begin to kick the heel into the ceiling, flexing the toes towards the face. Finding that nice hamstring stretch here. Remember to keep that right foot flexed if it's extended. And again, if we are feeling tight, remember we can keep a generous bend into the knee as we work on lengthening our hamstring and the back of our legs throughout this practice. So just softening the face, closing down the eyes for 5 deep breaths. Just trying to find relaxation in every shape that we take today. Last deep, beautiful breath in. And as we exhale, we'll release left foot down to meet the right. With our next breath in, bring both knees into the chest. Big toes are touching. We're going to bring our hands to the inside of our feet. So if we can't grab the inside of our feet, we can grab the ankles or even the calves. So we're coming into happy baby. We're going to pull the knees down towards the armpits into the earth as we kick the heels into the sky. So we're creating that resistance within the hips and that opening and creating space. So we want to keep our tailbone and the lower back connected to the mat. So if we notice that we're rounding and our bum is coming up, just be mindful and be aware and try to keep it down and grounded. So we can find a gentle rock side to side here, massaging the low back in this pose. Breathing into the hips. We'll find 3 more deep belly breaths. So if we're rocking side to side, we'll come back to center. 1 more breath in. And as we exhale, knees to chest, wrapping our hands around the shins. Just giving ourselves a hug for a minute here, maybe rocking side to side. And we'll plant the feet onto the mat, hip distance apart. We're going to bring our arms out to a cactus or a T, whatever is most comfortable. We're going to shift the hips to the right on an inhale. And as we exhale, allow the knees to fall to the left side for a supine twist. So we want to keep our shoulder blades grounded here. We can keep the gaze centered or bring the gaze over the right shoulder. Finding 3 deep, beautiful breaths here in our spinal twist. And we'll come back to center. Readjust the spine, bring the feet back hip distance apart. We're going to inhale, shift the hips to the left, and exhale, allow the knees to fall to the right. So taking that supine twist on the opposite side, just taking a moment to ensure that our shoulder blades are grounded. And again, if it's comfortable, we could bring the gaze over the left shoulder. Finding 3 deep belly breaths here. And we'll come back to center, readjust the spine, bring the knees into the chest. We'll wrap our hands around the shins and find that gentle rock side to side one last time. From here, we'll extend the right hand to the back of the room and roll over onto that right arm in a fetal position. From here, we'll use that left hand to push us up into a comfortable seated position in our Sukhasana. So our easy seated pose. So just coming cross-legged, take a moment to take the flesh out from underneath the sit bones, feeling nice and grounded. Shoulders are down and away from the ears. So we're really elongating and lengthening the spine here, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky. Our core is nice and tight, the navel's to the spine, and we're going to find a few stretches for our neck. So just bringing the right fingertips onto the right side of the mat, tenting them. We're going to inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, drop the left ear to the left shoulder. So you do have an option to stay here if this is enough of a stretch for you today on your mat. Or we could begin to move that right hand back and forth, just trying to find that sweet spot and holding for 3 deep, beautiful breaths. Breathing in to the right side of that neck. Just trying to find relaxation, stillness, and your breath. Inhale. And exhale, release, coming back to center. We're going to tent the left fingertips to the left side of our mat. We'll inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, drop the right ear to the right shoulder. So again, option to stay here, or we could begin to move that left hand back and forth until we find our level of intensity, and we'll hold. 3 deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling to release, coming back to center. So from here, we're just going to find a few neck rolls. So just begin to bring the right ear to the right shoulder, chin down to the chest, left ear, left shoulder. Coming down to the chest, right ear, right shoulder, and to the chest, left ear, left shoulder. We'll do that one more time. Coming down and over to the right, and come down and over to the left. Coming back to center. We're going to inhale, lengthen the spine, and as we exhale, begin to tip the chin towards the sky and open the front part of the throat and neck. 3 breaths. Inhale coming back to center. So from here, we're going to inhale the arms up nice and wide and towards the sky. And as we exhale, turn to the right. Drop that left hand to the right thigh, and the right hand comes behind us for our seated twist. So we're peeling the right shoulder back. Our gaze is either to the right side, or we could bring it behind the shoulder. So this twist is initiated from the core and the spine. We're not using the arms to crank us over. We're going to inhale, lengthen, and exhale, twist a little deeper. Holding here, 3 beautiful breaths. Inhale and exhale, coming back to center, reaching the hands up towards the sky. We'll twist to the opposite side. So right hand to left thigh, left hand comes behind us as a kickstand. We're peeling the left shoulder, left chest back, and our gaze could be to the left side or behind the shoulder. We'll inhale to lengthen and exhale, twist a little deeper, holding for our 3 deep belly breaths. Inhaling and exhale to release, come back to center. So again, we'll inhale the fingertips towards the sky. Exhale, drop right hand to the mat and sweep the left hand up and over for a seated side bend. So we can take a bend into that right elbow, reaching the left fingertips towards the right side. But we want to keep that left glute planted onto the mat. We don't want it lifting off. We want to keep it anchored, and we're pulling the body away from that anchor. We can keep our gaze centered or up at the left hand. Finding our breath. Breathing into that left side body, feeling the space opening between the ribs. Inhale and exhale, come right over to the opposite side. So stretch that right hand up and over towards the left. Open the chest. Option, keep a bend into the left elbow. And remember to keep that right sit bone grounded. Find your breath. Softening the face. Unclenching the jaw. And finding relaxation. Inhale and exhale, coming back to center. So from here, we're going to extend the legs out nice and wide in opposite directions. So we're going to bring that left foot to the inside of our right thigh. The right foot is flexed. We're coming to head to knee pose. So we're going to turn the chest face out over our extended right leg. We'll inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, just begin to walk the hand down the length of our leg. So maybe we're only coming to the knee. Maybe this is enough. Maybe we could get down a little further. Just really listen to your body and try to keep a nice flat back. With every exhale, maybe fold a little deeper. And we'll hold here for 5 deep breaths. Last deep inhale. And exhale, sinking a little deeper. We'll begin to walk the hands back towards the body, keeping the legs in this position. We're going to bring the left hand to the outside of the left glute, coming into modified wild thing. So as we inhale, we're going to lift the hips and sweep that right hand back. So opening throughout the full front body here for 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale, release nice and slow with control. So we're going to bring that to the other side. So extend that left leg out nice and long. We're going to bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Bring the chest and square it over the left foot. We're going to inhale with a nice tall spine and exhale, begin to walk the hands forward. Again, maybe we're only walking the hands by the knee, or maybe we can go a little deeper. Work with the space that you have in your body and honor that. Let go of ego, let go of judgment against yourself. Just accept where you are in your practice today and remind yourself that every day is different. Every day your body feels different. Every day we hold tension and tightness in different areas of our body. So just work with where we are and be kind to yourself. Again, with every exhale, maybe folding just a little deeper, keeping that spine nice and flat. Shoulders are down and away from the ears. Inhaling and exhaling. We'll begin to walk the hands back towards the body. Again, keeping the feet and legs in this position. We'll take that modified wild thing. So right hand plants to the outside of our right glute. We're going to inhale, sweep the left hand as we rise up onto the knee, opening the hips, opening the front body, reaching the left fingertips back, finding our breath. Inhaling and exhale to release nice and slow with control. So we're going to extend that right leg out again. So both feet are flexing towards us. We're going to take the flesh out from underneath the sit bones, coming into our dragonfly pose. So shoulders are down. We're grounded throughout the glutes. Nice tall spine. Crown of the head is reaching towards the sky. We're going to take a deep inhale. And exhale, begin to walk the hands forward. So again, just listen to your body. Nice and slow movements to know how this feels. Maybe we're only coming this far, or maybe we could come a little closer to the earth and round through the back and bring the forehead towards the mat. So remember, we just want to keep our feet flexed to protect the knees, and we're going to find our breath. Option to stack the fists, to rest the forehead on the hands. Just playing around here until we find our level of intensity, and we'll hold in stillness. One more breath in And exhale. Walking the hands back towards the body. We'll bring the legs in together, bend throughout the knees, and find a windshield wipe back and forth. Just releasing those poses, releasing the legs. And whenever we're ready, we're going to come into our tabletop position. So tabletop, we want our wrists or our shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Our spine is nice and long, and the crown of the head reaches forward. So we're going to begin to warm up our spine with our cat-cow. So we're going to inhale, curve through the belly, lift the hips and the gaze. And exhale, press into the fingertips, round to the spine, gaze to the knees. We'll inhale, curve through the belly, lifting the hips and the gaze. And exhale, round to the spine, pressing into the fingertips. We'll take 3 more at your own pace, moving with your breath, really exaggerating these movements. Inhale, last round, and exhale for cat. Coming back into that neutral spine position in our tabletop. We're going to bring our knees mat distance apart, big toes to touch, and press the sit bones back to the heels, forehead towards the mat. Reach the fingertips forward for child's pose. Working the armpits down towards the mat, finding our breath. So our child's pose is our pose of surrender. So here in this pose, just think of one thing you're still holding on to, one thing that's no longer serving a purpose in your life, and just let it go. Let it go with the breath, allowing yourself to make room for something else in your life, something that will serve a purpose, that will bring positivity. Inhaling and exhaling. Coming back to our tabletop position, we're going to find our thread the needle. So bring the left hand underneath the face. We're going to inhale the right fingertips towards the sky, opening the chest towards the right. And as we exhale, bring that right arm underneath the left, bringing the right cheek and shoulder to the mat. So we have an option to walk that left hand towards the top of the mat, stretching throughout the shoulder. Or if we want to go a little deeper in this twist, we could bring the left hand across the lower back. Wherever we are, finding our breath. Remembering never to hold your breath in any of our poses. We want to keep that nice, steady flow. If our left hand is across the lower back, we'll return it to the earth. Press into that left hand, coming back to our tabletop. So we're going to bring that to the other side, bringing the right hand underneath the face. We'll inhale, sweep the left hand up towards the sky, opening the chest. And exhale, thread underneath our right hand, bringing the left cheek and shoulder to the mat. Either walk that right hand towards the top of our mat, or to go a little deeper in the twist, we'll bring it across our lower back. And finding our breath. closing down the eyes, unclenching the jaw, just allowing yourself to relax. Inhale and exhale. So if that right hand is across the lower back, we'll return it to the earth and we're going to press back up into our tabletop position. So our next pose is puppy pose. So keeping the hips in the air, we're going to walk our hands forward, bringing our chest down towards the mat. So maybe we can't get our chest all the way down. This is perfectly fine. Just finding where we are and holding the pose. If we did want to go deeper here, we could begin to bring the chin down onto the mat. So nice back bend here. This will help relieve any tension in the low back and shoulders. We'll take one last inhale and exhale. Pressing into the elbows and hands, we'll walk them back underneath the shoulders for our tabletop position. So from here, we're going to tuck the toes, take a deep inhale, and as we exhale, press back into our downward dog. So making that upside down V with the body, rolling the shoulders down and away from the ears, externally rotating the arms. We're pressing into the fingertips, pushing the hips to the back of the mat, our navels to the spine. We're elongating the spine from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone. An option to keep a generous bend into the knees if we're feeling tight. So from here, we're going to begin to just walk out our dog. Maybe sway the hips back and forth. Finding our breath. We're going to inhale, lift the heels off of the mat, coming onto the balls of the feet. And exhale, press the heels down. We'll inhale up. And exhale, press the heels down. One last time. We'll inhale up. And exhale, press them down. So with our next inhale, right leg lifts up nice and high. And exhale, bring it between the hands, dropping the left knee for our low lunge. So we do have an option here to keep the fingertips on the mat on either side of our right foot, or we could come up on to the thigh. So we're working the left hip forward, right hip back, shoulders are down, tailbone is tucked, our core is nice and tight. And we can extend the fingertips towards the sky with our shoulders down and away from the ears. Just choosing whatever variation is working for us and holding here. Remembering, try not to keep any tension into the face. Just releasing, unclenching the jaw. Maybe even closing down the eyes if you want to challenge your balance. That right knee is stacking over the right ankle. Inhale. Exhale, frame that right foot. We're going to inhale, straighten out that right leg. So option to keep that right foot planted with a micro bend into the knee if we do have tight hamstrings, or we can roll onto the heel, flexing the toes towards the face. We'll inhale, pull forward with a flat back, and then exhale, fold nose to knee. So we don't want to lean to one side or the other. We want to keep our hips squaring to the top of the mat, to the short edge. Finding our breath. Breathing into that right hamstring as we work on lengthening the muscle and relieving the tightness and tension we may feel in the back of our legs. Inhale and exhale to release, coming back into our low lunge. We're going to plant the hands, tuck the left toes, fire out the back leg, and step back into our downward facing dog. Just take a moment, pedaling out the legs. From here, we're going to inhale, left leg up nice and high. And exhale, plant it between the hands, dropping that right knee. So we're going to show the same love to the opposite side. Whatever you do on one side in yoga, you always have to do on the other. So again, we could keep our hands on either side of that left foot. We could bring it to the thigh. Remembering to work that right hip forward, left hip back, left knee stacking over left ankle, shoulders down, core is tight. And if we want, we could extend the fingertips towards the sky. Option to challenge the balance by closing down the eyes. Inhaling and exhale, frame that left foot. Inhale, straighten out to the left leg for our half split. So again, we could keep that left foot planted with a micro bend into the knee if we're tight, or we can roll onto the heel, flex the toes towards the face. We're going to inhale, pull forward with a flat back, and then exhale, fold nose towards the knee. Again, we're squaring the hips to the top of our mat and finding our breath, breathing into that left hamstring. With every exhale, maybe bringing the nose a little closer to that left knee. Inhaling and exhaling, coming back to that low lunge, tucking the right toes, firing up that right leg, and step back into our downward facing dog. From here, just begin to walk the feet nice and slow towards the top of the mat. And from here, heel toe the feet so they're the width of our mat. So we're going to come into a wide forward fold in our ragdoll. So we're grabbing opposite elbows, allowing the neck and head to fall heavy. And we're just going to begin to sway back and forth. Again, if your legs are feeling tight, keep a generous bend into the knee. So this forward fold is great for relieving stress. Finding our breath. Breathing into the backs of the legs. We can nod the head yes, shake the head no, just to release the back of the neck. And from here, we're going to plant the hands onto the mat and just step back into our down dog again. So from our down dog, we're going to release the knees and then come down onto the belly. So we're going to come into 3 rounds of back bend. So the tops of the feet are onto the mat. We got our forehead onto the mat. We're going to come into baby cobra. So as we inhale, using the back, we're going to lift the chest off of the mat. The gaze is just to the top. We have no weight into the hands. 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale, release forehead to the mat. Next, we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So we're going to come up onto the forearms. So our elbows are lining up underneath the shoulders. Shoulders are down and away from the ears. We're lifting the chest. Gaze is straight forward. Feeling this in the lower back. Again, tops of the feet are on the mat. We're going to have 5 deep breaths here. Inhaling and exhale to release. Just take a breath here. So for our 3rd round, we could either stick with that Sphinx pose or we're going to come up into seal. So if seal is too intense, just come back down to Sphinx. So we're going to come into our Sphinx pose again onto the forearms, starting to bring the hands out a little bit wider. The thumbs are pointing towards each other. And we're going to begin to straighten out the arms, lifting the belly off the mat. Shoulders are down. We're almost trying to get our pubic bone off the mat as well. So holding here. Again, if this is too much, come down into Sphinx pose. 8 deep belly breaths. Maybe closing down the eyes. One last inhale. And exhale, release nice and slow. Coming into a shoulder stretch next. We're going to extend that right arm out nice and long. Plant the left hand onto the mat. As we inhale, we're going to roll up and over onto that right side. So we can keep the left hand planted onto the mat, stacking the feet. Or we could bring that left foot behind the right and the left hand behind the lower back. So this is an intense shoulder stretch. So really use your breath here to get through this pose. Last inhale. And exhale, coming onto the belly, we'll roll right over onto the other side, extending the left arm out. We'll roll up and over on to the left side. So again, we have an option to keep the feet stacked and the right hand planted, or bring that right foot behind and the right hand across the lower back for a nice intense shoulder stretch. So just closing down the eyes. Finding that relaxation here. we'll take one last belly breath. And exhale to release. So coming into frustration pose for just a few breaths. We're going to stack the hands on each other, bottoms of the feet, or tops of the feet to the mat, and just place the forehead onto the hands. And from here, we're going to bring the legs together. Bring the hands to either side of the chest. Press up and back for child's pose with the knees touching. Option to bring the hands behind the body, releasing throughout the shoulders, the neck, and the back. And we'll walk the hands back in front and begin to walk them towards the knees. So from here, we're going to tuck the toes, coming into toe stretch. So we're tucking the toes, just reach behind and ensure that pinky toe is tucked as well. So this is an intense pose, so maybe you need to keep your hands planted. Or we could begin to walk them up onto the thighs. So just working with where you are, what feels best. We're going to be here for 10 full breaths. So just find that level of intensity that we can hold for those 10 breaths in stillness and in relaxation. And really just focus on the breath, those inhales and exhales to help take your mind off the feeling of the stretch in the feet. The breath is the most important tool that we can use. Halfway through, 5 more breaths. Last inhale. And exhale, walk the hands forward. We're going to bring the feet off the mat. Just float them in the air. Feel all the sensations running through the feet before tapping them on to the earth. Just to release all the sensations. Release that pose. And when we're ready, we're going to swing the feet out to the side and extend them out in front. So again, we want to take the flesh out from underneath the sit bones. Our toes are tucking and flexed towards us. Shoulders are down, nice tall spine. We're going to inhale to lengthen and exhale, begin to hinge at the hips, walking the hands forward for our seated forward fold. So again, our hands might only come towards the knees. Maybe that's enough. Maybe we could grab the ankles, bring our peace fingers around the big toes. Just working with where you are and folding over here. Again, with every exhale, maybe folding a little deeper. Breathing into the backs of the legs. Last breath in, and walking the hands back towards the body. For our last pose, we're going to come into butterfly pose. So beginning to bend in through the knees. We're going to bring the bottoms of the feet to touch and allow the knees to fall out in opposite directions. So our spine is nice and tall. We can interlace the hands around the feet. And we can begin to fold forward. So bringing the elbows into the thighs, allowing them to fall open, and pressing them open just a little deeper. Our back is nice and flat. And we'll just fold forward for 5 deep, beautiful breaths. And one last inhale. And exhale, beginning to come back up. Bring our hands to the knees and help them back in together. We'll find a windshield wipe back and forth to release. For coming into our easy seated pose again, Sukhasana to end our class. So shoulders down and away from the ears, nice tall spine. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths together as a community to end this class. So as we inhale, we'll sweep the hands up towards the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, hands up towards the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. Last round, inhaling the hands up. And exhale, hands to heart center. So thank you for practicing with me, for tuning into my video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. May the sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the light within you guide you on. Namaste. So if you really did like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with new content. I will try to post a video every week. Again, this is Yoga with Rose.